They're serving food in restaurants. They're already doing most of the factory jobs. Heck, they're even pumping people's gas. And now they're mowing people's lawns.
Stop the madness. Are you out of your mind?
I'm talking about robots. Robot lawn mowers are becoming a much bigger thing and will only grow in popularity. Now, we talked about lawn mowers in our last video. We didn't talk about robot lawn mowers, though. We talked about rotary mowers, we talked about manual reel mowers, and powered reel mowers. If you want to check that one out, I will leave a link to it down in the description below. But today on Budget Lawns, I want to zero in on robot lawn mowers and just kind of my overall thoughts about them here in their early stages. If you find this information helpful, please give me a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. All that support really does help out the channel. So this is one of those topics that I will never say never.
But you don't say that.
I remember at one time when I said I would never use like the grocery pickup at Walmart. I mean, come on. How lazy do you have to be? Just go in and grocery shop. Well, that didn't last very long when you find out how convenient it is. So put your order in online, pull up into the parking lot, and it's ready for you. Same thing, remember when the robot vacuums came out?
I pressed a button, and it cleaned my living room.
Now, I suppose if you're somebody who really likes to vacuum, you might not be interested in one. But if you're really into just having clean, hard floors or carpets or rugs, then a robot vacuum was like a dream come true for you, right?
I was grateful.
Things are making our lives easier.
It's a robot. It cleans the house.
And for me, I am not there yet where I would want a robot lawnmower. But again, I will never say never.
But you don't say that.
To me right now, robot lawnmowers would eliminate really the most enjoyable part of lawn care for me.
Why would anyone do drugs when they could just mow a lawn?
And I know there are a lot of things out there that can reduce our time in mowing, like a plant growth regulator, mowing taller to where we don't have to mow as often. There are things we can do to cut back on time and make things a little bit more convenient, but I'm just not ready to let a robot take care of mowing my lawn. I am one of those that the mowing part is the therapeutic part for me. It is the release of the stress and anxiety and the pressures of the day. And it lets me get out and have something to accomplish from start to finish. This is going to kind of sound strange, but I remember being very similar as a kid when my mom would ask me to vacuum. I was more about the process and not necessarily the end result. For me, mowing the lawn is what I need. I don't need the cut grass. I don't need the perfect lawn. I don't need the golf course lawn. I don't need it to be aesthetically beautiful like a lot of people in lawn care need. Now, don't get me wrong, I care about that too, because I'm a homeowner that wants to give off a good impression to my neighbors. I don't want to be that neighbor that doesn't take care of their property. So obviously I want to have a nice looking lawn, but that's really, at the end of the day, not why I am in lawn care. I am in lawn care for what it does for the space between my ears, what it does for the physical activity that I get out of it. And right now, a robot lawnmower is not in the cards for me because I don't want to take all that away. Now, I can see myself as my kids get older and they become much more involved in after-school activities and sports and dance and gymnastics or whatever it may be, that I end up getting one to help lighten the load a bit of the lawn care, maybe for parts of my lawn. I can see that being a realistic possibility.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Now, right now, the price is pretty sky high for a lot of these, so I'm not big on jumping into things right out the gate. I kind of want the fire to simmer down a little bit and get to a point where it's a little bit more reasonable for me, not only financially, but also because I need it. Okay? Right now, there's a lot of innovation going into the robot lawnmowers.
When it's done, it goes back to its charging base and charges itself.
I know there are some new ones coming out on the horizon that are going to do things that the ones up until now have not done that I think are going to be attractive for a lot of people. I know for now there's a lot of bearing lines underground to keep it within certain zones. And eventually those will start to kind of go away. Now, I'm not sure how all this technology works. I'm roughly keeping up with it, but it's not on the top of my list or right in the center of my radar. But I know they're working on things that will eliminate that bearing of lines to keep it contained. I guess it'll work more off GPS. I know there's also some in the works or coming out that aren't really kind of just sporadic. Have you ever watched a robot vacuum? It just kind of bounces off everything and just goes where it goes. That's kind of how the robot lawnmowers have been. But from what I understand, there's some that are coming out now that will go more in lines and mow more like what you would do with your rotary or reel mower.
I think it's smarter than I am.
So I'm kind of the same way when I get a new piece of technology like a cell phone. I never go out and get the most recent one. I always get the one that's like 1 or 2 versions behind. Not only is it a little bit cheaper, but I've never considered myself one of those tech nerds that always has to be, on the forefront of having all the coolest gadgets and things. I'm fine with that 1 or 2 versions back, save a little money, let all the bugs get worked out, then I can get into one of those much cheaper a little bit further down the road. So for now, I am intrigued by the robot lawnmowers. I don't think I want one to take away all of my mowing responsibilities. But I can see one possibly in the future at a more affordable price that will lighten my load a little bit, where I can still get the advantages of going out and mowing and relieving that stress and everything else I desire from that physical activity, but not having to do so much. Because again, the end result of the lawn and having it perfect is not the goal for me in lawn care. Mine is the process. I love when things go wrong. I love when it's not just so at all times. I want to have to fix things. I want to have to tinker. I want to watch it change and get better. I'm not about just a perfect stand of turf. That's just not me.
Boy ain't right.
Now, I know there are a lot of people that way, but, all those people that are that way will go to these great lengths to have everything they can possibly get to make it perfect all the time because that's what they're looking for.
You ain't seen nothing yet. Raised lettering, pale nimbus, white.
Impressive. Very nice.
Not me. Just not me. And that's why I don't see a robot lawnmower as a time saver in the cards for me right now. But again, I'll never say never.
But you don't say that.
Because you never know. All right, my friends, those are just a few of my thoughts on the robot lawnmowers. What are yours? Do you think it's something that you will get involved with one day, or are you kind of like me at this point where you just couldn't imagine not getting the lawnmower out of the garage and pushing it across the yard? Because that's the fun part, if you ask me. Let me know your thoughts down below. I think it's an interesting conversation, will only continue to grow. But that's going to be it for this edition of Budget Lawns. I appreciate you joining me as always. We'll see you next time.